Hey there! In this video, I'm going to show you how I knit stranded colorwork. I'll show you the basics, how to catch floats, and a neat trick I use to ensure my colorwork stays nice and stretchy. Let's start with the basics of how I knit stranded colorwork with two colors. I usually knit holding the yarn in my right hand or English style, and when I knit colorwork, I like to hold the main color or background color in my right hand. So I will knit as usual to the point where I need to switch to the contrasting or foreground color. Now, to begin knitting with the contrasting color, I'm going to wrap my yarn around my left pinky finger and then bring it up and over my index finger. And that's how I'm going to hold my yarns for the rest of this project. I will knit the next stitch as a continental knitter would by scooping that contrasting color strand, and then simply switch back and forth between strands as you follow your pattern's chart. By holding my colors in this way, I am stranding my background color above and my foreground color below, and it's important to stay consistent in a project. If you have never done colorwork before, I encourage you to swatch and experiment with the way you hold the yarns or with which color you prefer to hold in either hand. Once you decide which hand you'll hold each color in, you should continue to do that for the whole project. Otherwise, the colorwork will look inconsistent. Look up color dominance in knitting if you'd like to learn more. And that's how I knit with two colors. It's really very simple. Now I'm going to show you how I catch or trap my contrasting color floats on the wrong side. I don't do this in all my colorwork projects, but for mitts or socks where I don't want my fingers or toes to get caught, I usually catch my floats over spans of 5 or more stitches. I'll start by knitting 2 stitches with the main color. Then I'll insert my needle into the 3rd stitch, place the contrasting strand over the needle from right to left, and knit the stitch with the main color. The 2nd strand is now trapped to the back of that stitch. I'll knit a couple more stitches so you can see that better. And that's what it should look like. I'll knit a few more stitches to the next 5-stitch span. Okay, so here we are. Knit 1, 2, catch and knit, and continue. And that's all there is to it. Here once again, you can see a trap float above my left thumb. If you want to catch or trap a main color float, I'll show you how I do that too. For this example, I'll catch at the center of 3 contrasting color stitches. So go ahead and knit 1. Then insert your needle into the 2nd stitch and wrap your main color around the needle. Wrap the contrasting color around the needle. And then unwrap the main color before completing the knit stitch. Knit the next stitch as usual and take a look. The main color strand should be trapped at the back of the 2nd stitch, as you see here. Let's keep knitting to the next contrasting color 3-stitch span. Okay, so here we are. So knit 1. insert the needle, wrap with the main color, wrap with the contrasting color, and unwrap. Oops, let's try that again. Wrap with the main color, wrap with the contrasting color, and secure with your thumb if you need to while unwrapping the main color. And there we go. We've done it. So finally, I'm going to show you a neat trick to try if your color work is consistently tight. You might notice that your floats are taut and not stretchy, or stitches are receding into the fabric and it's hard to get the item on. So the trick is to knit your color work inside out. Just push the work between the needles as I did here. And look at these pretty floats. They should be evenly sized and stretch easily. Now we're going to get ready to knit. And you can see it's a little fiddly to set up for the beginning of a round. But once you get started, you knit exactly like when you work right side out. You'll hold your yarns and catch the floats in the same way. And the only difference really is that the part of the row that you'll be working is at the back instead of the front, as you can see here. I'll just work across this row so you can see how this is done. I also want to point out that I don't let my stitches get too crunched up on the right needle. You'll want to make sure to keep some space between them so the float can comfortably stretch behind them. This applies whether you are working inside out or right side out. So now I'm going to turn my work to knit the rest of the round. And this is where this trick has been especially helpful for me. My small circumference colorwork knitting was always tight at the points between the needles until I tried this method. So here you can see that the yarn has to travel around the outer edge of the knitting instead of just that short distance between the needles, which can cause the float to be too tight. You see the difference in length? So that's the main reason this trick works. The yarn is traveling around the outer perimeter of the sock rather than inside of it. I noticed my color work that's been knit inside out is more fluffy and round instead of flat before blocking, if that makes sense. I hope all of these tips and tricks have been helpful for you to get started with colorwork knitting or even to improve your technique. Please let me know in the comments what you'll be trying in your next colorwork project. Happy knitting!